What's up, guys? Mason Brock Henderson here, and I'm extremely happy because my favorite show has returned. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3, Episode 11, Bouncing Back. Now, there's a lot of questions going into this. Actually, not going into it, more after it. Um, but, there were a few questions going in. Ward, now he's possessed by this ancient inhuman. What exactly is going on with him? You've got the ATCU is now without a leader. What's going to happen there? You've got where does the team go from here? What is the plan now? And they answered all those questions very well. Ward, he seems to be possessed by something, and at the very end, kind of shows his powers a bit. Not really fully. So I don't know if they're trying to keep that in mystery, so we don't really know, what exactly he does. But he clearly is possessed by this ancient being that Hydra's been trying so hard to serve all these years. The ATCU is getting a new leader in Glenn Talbot. Hysterical and brilliant because now the ATCU is now pretty much working for S.H.I.E.L.D. without the public knowing it because like the president says, the public doesn't have that short of a memory. The helicarriers raining down, still a big deal. So that's just awesome to have Talbot and Coulson working. Talbot's now working for Coulson. There's going to be some bitterness there. There are going to be a lot of good jokes there. So I'm excited to see that. And what was the last thing? TCU. What's the team doing now? They kind of have it split up into two different stories. You've got Daisy and Mac kind of working together with Joey, Bobby, and Hunter. Yes. Joey, Bobby, and Hunter, and all five of them are working on kind of an extraction type thing, looking for other Inhumans. So they're kind of out there. They're the team out in the field. Meanwhile, Coulson's new plan is to go after Gideon Malik because he knows that that's the guy who he needs to take down. He doesn't realize about Ward yet, but as soon as they find out, it's going to be crazy. But yeah, he has a plan now. He's looking for Gideon Malik, and that he actually finds where to start in this episode using Von Strucker's son in the memory machine. So he was able to find him. He was able to place a trace on his phone and find all of the different cell towers and stuff that it was connecting to. So they were able to kind of take out a little bit of his business. And they showed that at the end whenever they were talking about the decline in the stock for Malik's business or whatever. So it's going to be a long battle between Coulson and S.H.I.E.L.D. and Gideon and Hydra because from what we can tell, at least from what Gideon says, he's got a lot of resources to use. And even though they did do a lot of damage in this mid-season finale between Lash killing all the Inhumans they had captured, and then what they did to Hydra, taking out a lot of their soldiers in that one area, and now putting the trace on his phone and finding a lot of his businesses. Yeah, he's taken a hit, but even though he's taken a hit, he still has a bit of confidence. Like, this is not going to last long. So it's kind of nice to see that for Coulson and S.H.I.E.L.D. because I kind of felt like he was a bit cocky going into this situation, talking to Malik. He's just like, a bit more cocky than usual as far as Coulson goes, and talking to him and oh, it's too bad about all that happened, and he's just like, oh, you think you have the upper hand for now, but I've got a lot of resources. So it's nice to see that S.H.I.E.L.D's not going to be caught extremely off guard if Malik does have something up his sleeve. That Coulson does have kind of a warning now. But the main thing I want to talk about in this episode, before I get to a couple of the side stuff, is the Bogota mission. Going to get this girl who is able to move extremely fast. It was just kind of fun to see, because there's a lot that they can do now that we're finding out more about Inhumans. We're finding more Inhumans in general. it's kind of interesting to see what their powers are going to be. What exactly can they use these powers for? And this girl's powers are pretty cool. She can her powers are connected to her heartbeat, and however far she can go in one heartbeat in this slow motion, it pulls her back afterwards. And Mac ends up nicknaming her Yo-Yo because that's kind of what she is. She goes and comes back really fast, which at the same time it's a little bit weird because it's like why is she able to move in slow motion? And can we test this? Can we see if maybe she can go farther, maybe for 2 heartbeats? See how far she can expand her powers. But yeah, it's kind of fun to see her powers being used, and kind of fun to see her in battle with Daisy whenever they're attacking the prison, and the guard like pulls out a baton, and she like goes and grabs it, and she's just in the background like smiling, and he pulls out a gun, she goes and grabs that, and she's just like, yeah. You can just tell she's having so much fun because that's kind of her character. She's just like, she's a bit mischievous, and so she has that mischievous smile whenever she takes the weapons away from the cops. But yeah, it was kind of fun to see her in action. And then on top of that, there's another Inhuman on the corrupt police side, and he kind of had, Bobby compared it to Medusa, kind of is. He uses his eyes, and he can pretty much turn somebody to stone. And the way they stop him is really clever because he wears sunglasses, so he doesn't do it to everybody he looks at. And so Joey melts the sunglasses to his head, so that way he can't, take the sunglasses off. So very clever way to stop him. But the one thing that they did not really utilize very well is that whenever Yo-Yo, whenever she went to kind of take his, I don't know, she went to handcuff him. Whenever she did that, he managed to pull down his sunglasses enough to where he got her with his eyes. And I was kind of like, what if that affected her powers in some way? What could that possibly mean? She did, she like went back and ended up hitting the wall and then hitting the floor really hard and got knocked out in the process. But they didn't really do anything with that. Now, will they do it in the future? Maybe. But it was kind of like that could really affect her powers in some way. You could really use that and do something interesting. And maybe now her powers are diminished because of that. Maybe they're enhanced because her heartbeat is slower. I don't know. It just, you could have done something interesting with it, and you didn't really. She just got knocked out. That's the only reason why he was able to do that. So maybe they're going to use it later. Who knows? But then, the way the story ends is also kind of interesting because Hydra shows up and just kind of takes him away. That was a little weird that they didn't try to stop them at all, but it's a TV show, and sometimes they don't do a very good job of, oh, let's just take them. Oh, you guys are just gonna stand there and let us do it? Okay, that's great. It's happened a couple times before, but so that was the main story for this one, and don't really know where they're going with her, Yo-Yo, and her story, because at the very beginning they said they were showing like 3 months in the future, and it was in space, and all of a sudden it started pulling back, and all of a sudden you're inside of a spaceship, and it showed her necklace that she had, and then pulled back even more, and you saw somebody wearing a S.H.I.E.L.D. thing, and then the ship blew up. Now, does that mean she's going to be a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. and she's going to get killed in the process? Or is this somebody that she's going to connect with, and then they're going to have the necklace, and then they're the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent? Who knows? Somebody is going to die by the end of the season. I don't know who it's going to be, but yeah, if it's her, I'm assuming they're going to give her a bit more of a character, so that way we actually connect to her and feel bad if she does end up dying. But yeah, it feels like they're setting up for something there. So that's going to be interesting to see why they showed us that and where it's going. Why is there a spaceship? What's going on? So a lot of interesting stuff there. Um, you've got Lincoln kind of trying to fit in with Shield. He's doing it mainly because he and Daisy are together now. He wants to be there for her, even though he doesn't really like Shield. So he's trying to do his best to fit in. He's trying to do his best to help out when needed. He's also trying to play by the rules because Coulson needs him to do something whenever they're doing the memory thing on Von Strucker. And at first he's just like, no, I could fry his brain. And Coulson's just like, you have to do it. And so he's finally like, okay, and does it. So you can tell he's not really happy being there. He's not really happy having to do this stuff. But at the same time, he's doing his best to try to suck it up and do it, because if not, then he and Daisy can't be together. So, which I don't want them together just because Daisy's my girl. The other interesting part is Fitz and Simmons. They're, as much as I hate just relationship stuff in TV shows, because generally it's not handled well, this is one that I've actually wanted to happen since the end of season 1, pretty much. Like, whenever they were together, he finally admitted how he felt, and then he ended up with brain damage. Ever since that moment, it's just kind of like, they need to get together. Like, he's done so much for her, they need to get together. And then at the end of season 2, they're finally about to go on their first date, and I'm just like, thank you. It took a whole season, but thank you. And then she gets sucked away to another planet. And then she falls in love with a guy there. And then she comes back, and Fitz thinks they can just pick up where they left off, and oh no, this guy's in the picture now. And so Fitz goes to rescue him because he is just way too nice for his own good. And then that guy's dead, so Fitz has to finish him off. And so now Fitz feels guilty because he's like, I could have done something to help him. And Simmons just like, no, he was dead. You couldn't have done it. And she's just like, you've done so much for me. You've been there through it all. And they finally just decide, you know what, more like Simmons decides, let's start over. Let's start from when we first met. And Fitz is kind of like, 16 and painfully shy. And she's just like, I'm Gemma Simmons, bioengineering, or bio something. And he's just like, Leopold Fitz, engineering. And it's just kind of like, yeah, I can accept that, because they've been through a lot. If you really think about everything they've been through together, and then everything they've been through on their own, it's kind of like, it does make sense that they are not the same people that they were when they first met. So it's time to do reintroductions. It really is. I completely accept that. I'm okay with that. I think that is probably the best thing that you can do for their characters, is to have them kind of relearn who they are, and how they've changed since they first met. Because honestly, I still think they're perfect together, because it's Fitzsimmons. They just work. But at the same time, they have changed a lot, and so it's not going to be as easy as just, oh yeah, we are the perfect match. Now it's, we've changed. Do we still fit together as well? So it's going to be interesting to see how that's handled. I'm going to be really enjoying finally getting to see that chemistry back together, because honestly, that has been one of the frustrating things through all of this, is just, in the first season, they had such great chemistry, and one of the things that I hated about Ward turning to Hydra is the chemistry that the team had. All of them, not just Fitz and Simmons, Daisy, well, at the time Skye, Ward, May, Coulson, they all had such good chemistry as a team. So to see the team broken apart was kind of heart-wrenching. And just like, I want to see more of that, but now I can't. And that one where they finally brought them back together, only for Ward to double-cross them in the end, it was kind of like, I miss this. It was, even though they were kind of hating on Ward at the time, it was still kind of, it felt natural because they were back together again. So to see that the chemistry between the team kind of drop off, like, I miss the interactions between May and Sky, now Daisy. I miss the interactions between Fitz and Simmons. I miss the interactions between Coulson and Sky. I mean, they used to be like a father-daughter relationship, and now Coulson has a talk with her every few episodes. So it's kind of like I miss those interactions. And I understand that the show has changed because of all of that, because of Hydra, because of S.H.I.E.L.D. having to rebuild, and they're bringing in a new team, and now the team from the first season is actually not just a team. Now they are part of S.H.I.E.L.D. in general. They're not just they're not just agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They are now S.H.I.E.L.D. Kind of makes me think that the show name needs to be changed. Like, it used to be Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now it should just be called S.H.I.E.L.D. Because that's what it is. You know, it's not just a team, a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. anymore. So, you know, it's got. I said all of that to say it's going to be nice to see Fitz and Simmons finally back together, finally, hopefully similar to season one and how well they work together then. It's going to be nice to see if they can do it again, because I missed that. Going forward, though, obviously Ward's going to be a big threat. Hydra is going to be the main threat in the background. I think they're probably going to do a bit more about Inhumans and finding Inhumans and going to extract them. Kind of a race between Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. And then nearing the end of the season, it's going to be a big battle between Ward and what he's become now, Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. on the other side. So it's one thing that I definitely want to see, though, going forward. I want to see how much S.H.I.E.L.D. has grown since Coulson took over. Because at the... I don't want to say... I can't remember when it was. I think it was back when Talbot... You know, whenever Hydra was trying to make S.H.I.E.L.D. look like a bad organization, before, like, Whitehall was killed and all of that stuff, before Coulson managed to take down Hydra by making them take down themselves. Before all of that, I remember there was the one episode where Hydra attacked as S.H.I.E.L.D. And so Talbot was just full force going after them. And then one of the guys that was supposed to be like a lobbyist for S.H.I.E.L.D. was actually a Hydra agent, claimed that his place was a safe haven for S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. So they all went there just for Hydra to show up and kill them. So we know that there are S.H.I.E.L.D. agents out there in the world, but we don't really know how big it's grown. We don't really know how big it's grown. You know, we don't know how much of their organization is out there, how much, or how many people they have, how many different safe houses, how many different, not organizations, how many different bases they have in other countries, and, you know, in America in general. We don't really know that. They haven't really shown us that very well. So I would like to see that in this second half of the season. I would like to see them show maybe a couple episodes where, you know, maybe Daisy and her team have to go to another country and meet up with the S.H.I.E.L.D. in that country and kind of work with them a bit. Or maybe, you know, introduce some characters in another country that are part of S.H.I.E.L.D. that are doing some groundwork there for Coulson. Of course, when you do that, though, then you've got kind of what NCIS did. You know, now you have NCIS New Orleans and NCIS LA. It's kind of like, I don't want to see S.H.I.E.L.D. Paris or anything like that. I just want to see some of these other S.H.I.E.L.D., you know, some of the other S.H.I.E.L.D. agents that are in other countries, you know, that have built bases there, are working privately there. I want to see them kind of start to pop up a bit more. Like maybe the Yo-Yo that we just met today, maybe she's going to kind of set up her own little part of S.H.I.E.L.D. in Bogota. So that would, you know, that's just something I want to see a bit more in this season, because honestly, we don't really know how S.H.I.E.L.D. is right now. We see a small part of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I think that there's a bigger part of S.H.I.E.L.D. going on elsewhere, so I want to see more of that. But other than that, that's it for this first episode back. I really did enjoy it. As I said, it's my favorite show just because of, one, I really enjoy the characters, and two, I love how they tie in to Marvel Cinematic Universe overall. With Civil War coming up in May, I'm sure that there's going to be another tie-in to the movie the week before that. Uh, so they I love how they do that. It's so cool to be watching this show, and then at the end of this week, oh, we need to call in the Avengers, and then Avengers: Age of Ultron comes out later that week. That was freaking awesome. So I'm excited to see what they do for Civil War 2, and I'm excited just in general for this season because there's a lot of stuff going on and a lot of possible plot lines to take. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? What do you want to see them do with S.H.I.E.L.D. in general? Let me know. Leave a like and subscribe for more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I'll see you at the next review. Peace out.